So January 23rd, 2013, there was a Wii U focused Nintendo Direct. It was probably one of the bigger Nintendo Directs we've had in North America in terms of announcing new things. A lot of it was just fairly obvious observations. Some of we did get some actual new news, more than I would have expected actually. Uh, that being said, I felt it was kind of underwhelming, even though it was probably one of the bigger Nintendo Directs we've had. That wasn't a direct lead into E3 or something like that. Well, we learned about we got a new Wonderful 101 trailer. The game looks excellent. One of the better looking graphical Wii U games I've seen by far. We've seen they showed some teaser stuff for Bayonetta 2. Uh, uh, I had it. I have 360, but I was not really drawn towards the first Bayonetta. I'm interested just in terms of it being published by Nintendo. I'm interested in terms of how that's going to come out and how that will what that'll play into in terms of the Wii U's story ultimately. Uh, and I know like if I was if I had a Wii U right now and I was one of the guys like out. Well, I was actually camped out there on in the launch line, even though I didn't even wasn't even able to afford the system at the time. But uh, yeah, I don't have Wii U yet. But if I was one of the people camped out there, I mean, even though they knew anyone who camped out for Wii U could look at the launch schedule and pretty much know what they were in for. That being said, not having any new Nintendo published Wii U games out until March, and then March looks like that. But from March on, it looks like that they're going to have a pretty steady stream, which is good. But for the first 2 months of the year, it's kind of like, if I was one of the guys, the people who have Wii U right now, they're the ones doing the heavy lifting. They're the base that's going to, that Wii is going to sort of springboard off of. Like when 3DS launched, if it wasn't for those people who supported 3DS at day one, even though they weren't that many games, then 3DS certainly wouldn't have had the chance to make the comeback that it did, and now it's a huge success. So the people out there doing the heavy lifting, I think they absolutely deserve a, better than a lot of looking really uncomfortable on camera saying, "Oh, I'm really really sorry, but we can't have any Nintendo published games out until March." That being said, they did release a lot of good information. Let's see. Well, they officially announced that they're going to fix the issues with the Wii U operating system being so slow with the menus and coming in and out of the games and everything. I mean, that really would have, if I had, ample cash to do whatever, seeing the YouTube videos of how long those menus could take, that really would make me sit and say, like, hey, I'm just going to wait till they fix this. Because I had 3DS from the beginning, and there was a lot of stuff they had to fix and improve. And the 3DS I have now is not the 3DS that launched, back in March 2011. It's a whole new system now. But it took Nintendo so long to get their act together and get all that stuff together. And I really would wait till they got these updates out. Frankly, now it's good that there's what else did they talk about? Game and War. I mean, they didn't show any new Game and Wario stuff, but I know that looks interesting. I know that looks like a game I'd buy. The big news was just stuff about they said Miiverse is going to be on phones fairly soon. Within like 6 to 8 months probably, and there's going to actually be a proper phone app for it too. Because first it's going to be a website, then it's going to be an app. I don't need to recite the whole thing. I just want to give my opinions on Yoshi's Island for Wii U. I How will I say this? I've been waiting for this announcement for a very long time, longer than most people have probably been waiting for Yoshi's Island Wii U to be announced, and I'm glad that it's finally been announced. And even like it's weird. It's like I've been. I'm just gonna keep my mouth shut. But basically, there's a lot of Nintendo's did a really sort of iffy job of keeping this a secret. There's like some kind of leak where there's some secret development menu in the background of the Wii U operating system where you can see that there is a Yoshi's Island game mentioned. So it's that being said, I liked when they said a new game for Wii U with Yoshi. I'm like, all right, here it comes. I want to see something brilliant and vivid. And I'm sort of weirded out because they start showing what looks exact. It just looks like they literally took Kirby's Epic Yarn. Just replace Kirby with a Yarn Yoshi and replace the Yarn like Waddle Dees with Yarn Shy Guys. And then Yoshi eats one of the Shy Guys, gets like crocheted into an egg and pops out and sort of a 3D sort of crocheted Yoshi doll that then is the player character. And they show different shots of where Yoshi's like walking past pillows in front of a window and these different sort of environments that aren't strictly side-scrolling Epic Yarn style environments. But then they also show the embroidered Yoshi in other Epic Yarn type environments. Like I don't know if this wants to look like Yoshi, like Kirby's Epic Yarn, or if it wants to look like Little Big Planet with Yoshi. It looks sort of confused, like that was an early development thing, and then it turned into the more sort of 3D-ish sort of interpretation. That I'm really excited about it. I want to see this. I hope that game is in 1080p. That's going to be a game that's going to look really gorgeous. That's going to be one of those games that it's going to come out and basically no matter how far computers advance, if they could get the art style right, it's never going to look dated. It's never going to look obsolete. Now, speaking of game graphics, Wind Waker is. I didn't expect them to talk about Zelda today. Eiji Aonuma came out. He talked about they're making a new Zelda. They're starting from scratch. There's basically getting back to the basics. They're talking about how making the game like less linear, about making the game not have to be a single player only centric experience. I hope that doesn't mean a Four Swords game. I mean, I never really even had a chance to get into Four Swords properly. The closest thing I've had to that is the Minish Cap, which is a single player game. But I'll see. I'm sure they're talking about a second player using the gamepad or something like that. And when they started talking about how they're experimenting with the art style, and they showed renderings of Windfall Island from Wind Waker on the GameCube rendered on Wii U, I was thinking, okay, I thought what they were doing was, okay, guys, we're going to have a cartoony art style, so don't have like an epic like hissy fit when we show something that's not exactly like the tech demo from E3 2011. I thought that's what they're gearing for, but instead, we're gonna have they're gonna have Wind Waker on done in HD, not just an up-res of Wind Waker in 1080p or something. They're actually apparently reworking it from the ground up and completely rebuilding the game from scratch to remake it for Wii U. And it's obvious. I think I wouldn't be surprised if Windfall Island's all they have ready to show, because they showed pictures of Windfall Island. They showed pictures of Link, Tetra, and the girl with the pot from Outlook Island, I think is where you start at. Yeah, and from the island where you start out at. And those Tetra, Link, and that girl do not belong together on that island in the course of Wind Waker's story. So it's clear they've just rendered these models and they're just sticking them in there just to show something. It looks good, but I have to say, it's there's something with the lighting that looks off about what they showed for this Wind Waker remake. It doesn't look cel-shaded anymore. That's really what it is. It does not look cel-shaded. It looks cartoony, absolutely. It's cartoony, it's stylized, but it does not look cel-shaded. It does not have the lighting, the crisp, bright lighting of Wind Waker on the GameCube. I hope that changes as it gets closer to release. And there are people who are like, "Oh yeah, way to go, Nintendo! Another remake. That's all Nintendo does." But it's like, this is the first time that I could think of where Nintendo's really had a remake of any game as a headliner thing for a console. Really what they're doing is they're basically just doing exactly what Microsoft did with Halo Combat Evolved Anniversary Edition, because they couldn't get Halo 4 out that year, so they made an HD update of the first Halo game for that fall, so they could work on Halo 4 to be the headline game for next holiday season. That's basically what Nintendo's doing. They're taking a Wind Waker HD reimagining for Wii U, and now then hopefully next year in 2014. Wow, it just feels crazy even saying 2014, but it just seems like a lifetime away. But and then hopefully they'll have time so they could properly really work on Zelda for the proper real next gen Zelda for Wii U, which is it's a good tactic. I'd much rather they do that than do like with Wind Waker, where it seems like they cut out like 30% of the game, where it seems like I wonder if will they add a dungeon for the third of the pearls you get. You get 3 pearls, and the first 2 have dungeons for them, and the third they just give you. Like, oh yeah, we didn't have time to put in this dungeon here. We're just gonna give it to you. I hope they put in some good, rather than the Triforce. If they put the Triforce shards in the same place, and but have like, just like, hey, instead of the maps, why don't like getting the map pieces? Why don't they just have in the place where you get the map pieces have like a mini dungeon or something that takes like 15, 20 minutes to complete? I'd rather play through like 8 mini dungeons than that fetch quest. And the fetch quest was great to encourage you to explore the map. That I had fun doing, but in lieu of what should have been 8 dungeons in any other Zelda game is really disappointing. I don't know. I mean, the whole point of this new Zelda game is that they're trying to rush this out so they could spend more time on the real new Zelda game. So I doubt that's going to be massively overhauled. Uh, that's I think that's about everything I have to say about Nintendo Direct today. And we know they officially acknowledged the team that did Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 and that did Mario 3D Land is working on Super Mario, a 3D Super Mario game for Wii U. We basically figured that. We know we're going to see Smash Brothers at E3. We didn't need him to tell us that. Um, so I hope there's going to be a lot at E3 that they haven't announced now, and I really don't expect them to announce anything major until Game Developer Conference, and even that Game Developer Conference really, if last year is to be the precedent, Game Developer Conference is no longer Nintendo's pre-E3 pep rally that it used to be, where Iwata would, oh, I'm going to talk about the video game industry and the art of making video games, and coincidentally, that'll mostly involve hyping up Nintendo's E3 next E3 presentation. It seems like they've Game Developer Conference has sort of moved away from that, and I really can't blame them for doing that because as much as I loved seeing Iwata's keynotes, it felt kind of weird. It's like, isn't this supposed to be for game developers, and about game developers, the art of it and everything? And here it's not something for. I didn't really feel like it was something for me to sit around and fanboy over the way I was, even though I did enjoy getting a new Zelda trailer or whatever that they let out at those events. Okay, I've said enough for now. That's my impression of Nintendo Direct, late January 2013, and thank you for watching.